Human Development Theory and Applications by Bailey Phillips and Molly Smith. Uh, for this presentation, we will introduce symbolic interaction theory along with sociocultural theory. We'll explore elements of the theories, including who the theorists are. We will compare and learn some applications of the theories. We hope that we can correctly introduce and apply sociocultural theory and symbolic interaction theory in helping professions and in everyday life. Symbolic interaction theory is the idea of how symbols have meanings through human interaction and how we create ideas of what an object or symbol mean through our interactions with each other. And these interactions can change and shift, and they can put an object into a positive perspective or into a negative perspective, and vice versa, how social rules can change due to interactions. So the main theorists behind this theory are Charles Cooley and George Herbert Mead. Charles Cooley created the concept of the looking glass self, meaning that your self-concept is based on what others and your parents think. Charles Cooley was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, as the son of Thomas Cooley, who was a Supreme Court justice in Michigan at the time. George Herbert Mead created the self-concept that expectations emerge through interactions with significant others and parents. And a fact about Mead is that he actually never published any of his work. 4 of his students actually published and edited his findings. Symbolic interaction theory in a helping profession. I actually found an article discussing how symbolic interaction theory is being used to diminish the stigma around receiving mental health, along with how it can be used in treating patients with mental health concerns. So these quotes will address those. Thus, in order to understand the source of meanings by which those with mental health problems act towards objects, research must consider the social processes by which these meanings are created. So this is discussing how service providers will try to understand and learn where the experiences or have created your idea of perhaps a symbol being triggering or showing some trauma. And then, so for the stigma, the quote, negative perceptions of psychiatrist psychology and the psychological professions, such as their role as an organ of social control, the carelessness use of diagnostic labeling, the prescription of medicine with potentially harmful side effects, and the precedence for this medication over psychological treatments are widespread. They contribute to the unfavorable reputation of such services and how the service user and service provider view one another. So this quote is describing how there's a stigma around the medicine that is treated for mental health and how it can be given out sparing or it can be given out loosely, and how that's looked down upon people in society. Therefore, the people that receive this treatment are looked down upon, and it's the stigma of receiving help. And then in everyday life, we can see symbolic interaction theory applied in social settings and the social rules. So in this scene that I'm about to show, Caddy is getting an explanation of all the social rules of her new high school. She was placed in a new environment, and these rules were created amongst the group of the so-called It Girls, including Regina, Gretchen, and Karen. And Caddy, in her mind, associated the hair, the makeup, the clothes, the shoes with being popular and being chosen. Therefore, she wanted to associate herself with this. And this is a little clip of Caddy being explained the social rules that she has to follow.
Having lunch with the plastics was like leaving the actual world and entering girl world. And girl world had a lot of rules.
You can't wear a tank top 2 days in a row, and you can only wear your hair in a ponytail once a week. So I guess you pick today. Oh, and we only wear jeans or track pants on Fridays. Now, if you break any of these rules, you can't sit with us at lunch. Well, I mean, not just you, like any of us. Okay, look, if I was wearing jeans today, I would be sitting over there with the art freaks. Oh, and we always vote before we ask someone to eat lunch with us because you have to be considerate of the rest of the group. Well, I mean, you wouldn't buy a skirt without asking your friends first if it looks good on you.
I wouldn't.
Oh, and it's the same with guys. Like, you may think you like someone, but you could be wrong. 120 calories and 48 calories from fat.
Okay, so in this clip, these girls have essentially made themselves the popular girls among this group of high schoolers because they've set themselves apart and they've made themselves exclusive. And now they're adapting Caddy into it, but they're indoctrinating her with their rules, therefore applying the symbolic interaction theory.
Is a developmental theory that focuses on how social interaction and psychological processes shape the behavior and responses of an individual to their cultural environment. It stems from the idea that human learning is largely a social process rather than just a cognitive process, and it can be applied in both educational settings and socialization and play settings. It also emphasizes the idea that cognitive functions are formed based on the interactions with those around us who we perceive as more skilled or we perceive as mentor types. And so this is a process called scaffolding in which a more skilled individual is able to facilitate a less skilled individual becoming proficient in some action or activity or process. And this idea also values that children and caregivers are able to co-construct knowledge through their shared communications. So some examples can include students changing their disposition when they are attending a sporting event at their school in which they might be driven to act in a more uniform manner, which might differ from their individual personalities as a response to the large and energetic crowd they're in. A foreign exchange student being hosted by a family in another country will most definitely become impacted by the unfamiliar family dynamics and family functioning methods or communication styles that they witness and experience within that family. And middle schoolers also having to adapt to a new learning style or work style when they're introduced to a new workload while also trying to balance their social lives in high school. So sociocultural theory and helping profession. Is very prominent in early childhood educators, and this is because educators have a large role in organizing their classroom to help facilitate either more group collaboration or more isolated work. And group collaboration is very important in youth education because it exposes students to other personalities, different work styles, and unfamiliar encounters or experiences while collaborating in an educational setting. Because social interactions are such a large part of why students go to school, and teachers have the ability to shape those interactions. The theorist led by Vygotsky believed that parents, caregivers, peers, and culture are largely responsible for developing high-order functions within children, so the way that they're able to develop and grow over time. He also believed children are born with biological constraints on their minds, of which culture kind of provides these tools of intellectual adaptation that allow them to use their unique personality and abilities as a way to adapt to their culture. And he also described the ZPD model as the distance between actual development and potential development that can be obtained through problem solving and different encounters under adult guidance. So this is a clip from the movie The Blind Side, and in this movie, the main character, Michael O'Hare, faces an identity shift when he is adopted into a family that lives within a community of higher socioeconomic status, and he has to adapt to a new school, a new workload, and being held to a higher standard from this family, and balancing that with his football endeavors.
It's going to be a different experience for you, Michael. SJ, stop it. lots of distractions.
Have fun.
I was going to be some Nimrod that don't want to play video games all night or fool around on the internet.
Just have fun.
And you will be spending a lot of time in practice, which means you'll have to be very dedicated to your studies, all right? That's Jake. You don't stop it right. Come here. Relax, Mama. I just got back from the library. I reserved a private cubicle for this semester. Here's your class schedule and our study hall hours. And if y'all don't mind, I'm going to go move into my new apartment. Thank you, Miss Sue.
Thank you, Miss Sue.
Yeah. Let's see what you got. College writing, good. Psychology, math lab. It's going to be good because you know why. A lot of good classes.
You'll have a lot of fun.
Michael Orr, you listen to me, all right? I want you to enjoy yourself, but if you get a girl pregnant out of wedlock, I will crawl in the car, drive up here to Oxford, and I will cut off your penis.
She means it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, 78's gonna be a parking lot, so we should get going. I want everyone to say their goodbyes, all right? Here. Bye, baby.
Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome. What? What, Michael?
Need a proper hug.
So when comparing the sociocultural theory with the symbolic interaction theory, they both value the influence of social interaction on cognitive development, and they both involve children and peers or children and their perceived caregivers co-constructing knowledge from their interpersonal interactions with one another, and they both can be applied in a multitude of settings, including educational and socialization or play settings. Some differences include that the symbolic interaction theory is considered to be evaluated on a micro level, whereas sociocultural theory is a macro level theory. Sociocultural theory emphasizes the influence of certain social interactions within a cultural or social group on human development of beliefs, attitudes, and especially learning methods, whereas the symbolic interaction theory focuses on the creation of implicit social rules to be followed through interpersonal interactions. So in conclusion, the symbolic interaction theory is how past experiences and interactions shape how an individual views some certain symbols and objects. And that is a theory that is evaluated on a personal level. And the sociocultural theory is how the environment shapes behaviors of a person through their cultural surroundings and interactions that they choose to surround themselves with, and influencing individuals' learning and development styles. And that's evaluated on a larger scale. And these are our sources.